This is my story from $0 to 1 million in like 5 years or something. I'm going to tell all of you guys how I went from complete zero and stuck to over 1 million and free. Now, growing up, I never cared about money, but soon after I left high school at 16, it was almost like the day after you left school, you were now theoretically jobless, to where one day prior in school, everything was fine and it was cool not to have any money. And slowly that became a realization of mine when I had to actually start paying for my own stuff. So that's the starting point. So now I'm in my 20s, I have my dream life, I get to control my own schedule, ran multiple high six-figure ecom stores, and I've just launched a new ecom brand with my business partner Elias, and our education company Up-Level E-commerce, where we teach people to do the exact same. I travel a lot and I'm able to spend a lot of money and just do really cool things, like starting and growing these brands, and it's great, it's been fun. And the journey from where I started to where I am right now is an incredible journey, and I'm super excited to tell you guys about it and how it's going to help a ton of you guys out there if you're just starting out or if you are in the trenches and you're trying to figure this stuff out. So it all started in like 2012. I had this idea that poisoned my mind, and it was this idea that I needed to be wealthy, and at the time I just didn't know how to do it yet. And my dad would just say, keep working at your job and eventually you'll go higher up the chain. And at the time it made sense, it resonated with me. Now the only problem was when I started doing the math, the top income for most jobs I was looking at was 40 to 60k, and that was the absolute max. So although that was great, it wasn't going to get me wealthy, and I told him that. And it would always cause these arguments to where we would end up not speaking for a while, to then this rinse and repeat cycle. It was toxic. So I moved out and lived with my grandparents, and although my grandparents were angels and let me live rent free, I still had to get a job, so I did, 2 of them. I got a job working in a local corner shop, and I would work there from 9 AM to 5. Then I would go deliver pizzas right next door at Domino's till midnight, and although money was coming in, I was only making like 2,000 bucks a month for practically working 15 hours a day, and it was killing me. I just didn't know how to get past this stage, and when I started looking at Instagram and Facebook, I would see all these rich people always away on holiday to Dubai, renting out these fast cars, and it made no sense to me because I was working 15 hours a day and there was no way these dudes were outworking me. There wasn't any time left in the day. One day I was scrolling YouTube and I got hit with a video on my homepage, and I don't quite remember who it was or exactly what the content inside were. All I remember was it was some screen share of a guy talking about how he made 15 grand dropshipping. And I was like, what is dropshipping and how do I make that right now? I watched this video, and although I didn't really understand what was going on or how to do it, this was my first taste of ecom and I was hooked. I remember this one weekend going on a rabbit hole of a YouTube marathon binge of watching every single dropshipping video I could in that 40 hours before I'd work on that Monday morning. Monday comes, I get up from work and all day standing at this counter serving people, and that's all that's on my mind, just dropshipping. Then as I go and start my delivery shift delivering these pizzas, I just keep listening to all these YouTube videos talking about dropshipping. And as soon as I get home, I go absolutely crazy building my first store. I didn't really care about sleep or getting to bed early, I just wanted to build this first store and start making money like I was seeing all these people do in these videos. 2 weeks go by, and at the time, just thinking of it now, the store was a complete disaster. It was scammy looking and it was a complete mess. But at the time I thought this was the next Amazon. I went on and launched the ads, and most of the guys were saying do these $5 a day Facebook ads. And although I was making 2 grand a month with no real expenses, I was immediately put in this scarcity mindset with the thought of spending $5 a day. What if I didn't get any sales? Would this be a whole waste of time? It's silly now, but at the time it was very real to me. I launched the ads just before I went to sleep, and upon waking up I checked the store to see if I'd brought any sales, and to my absolute heartbreak, there was nothing. I got this weird feeling inside, feeling like I had failed. You know, I was too embarrassed to tell anybody at the time, and I went to work feeling like absolute crap. It was long and I was just really stuck, but I don't give up. I remember watching this video from another YouTuber, and it was like 8 hours long about Facebook ads, and he was teaching about different audiences and how to target them better. So I started to implement. I woke up the next day, and to my surprise, I had a sale of a whopping $9.99. I was ecstatic. It wasn't the money part, it was the fact that knowing I had implemented something and I took action, made adjustments, and I had gotten a result. I'll never forget that. But this is where this story kind of takes a turn from the worst, because over the next 4 days I got 0 sales and this scarcity mindset started to come back. So I turned off the ad and completely closed down the store and really closed the book on ecom for some time. A few years later, I'm 21 and I'm still working these 2 jobs, and I'm seeing everyone else in my friend group start to go higher up in their jobs, get nicer cars, and maybe my dad was right. Maybe I should have stuck at a job and climbed up the rank. Maybe that was the only way. Now this made me somewhat resentful, and I wanted to get out the small town I was living in, and I did what every other kid would do. I jumped on Tinder and I started speaking to this girl called Nadia, and she worked at a gym, and I was very into fitness at this point, and she got me a job at this gym, and I just kind of packed up my stuff and left. It was great. I had a hot girlfriend, I was working in a gym making £30 an hour, and I was in control of my schedule, but I still wasn't free. I still wasn't making this 15k a month, and very soon after I started to hate training people. And there was almost this element of trying dropshipping again that was in the back of my mind, and it just wouldn't go away. I got in one night and I went ham on another YouTube binge, and I stumbled across this YouTube ad from these 2 guys, Rich and Laz, and they were talking about dropshipping, but dropshipping in a different way. And I watched this whole 2 $2 ad, and I went down a rabbit hole and stumbled across the ad, of course. I was like, okay, cool, let me grab it. The only problem was it was $2,000. Again, I was in this scarcity mindset of not knowing if I would see this $2,000 I spent would come back. I didn't buy it. A couple of weeks later, I was out getting some dinner with Nadia, and I seen this guy in a parking lot that was driving this Audi R8, and I remember literally running over and asking what he did. And we got talking, and I still remember to this point where I was telling him about my scarcity mindset, about how I wanted to do ecom, but I didn't know how or what to do. And he told me, Jake, scared money doesn't make money. I still get these weird chills to this day, but in a good way. But this was the decisive moment because this changed everything. Got home and I bought the course. I was terrified, but I was very open-minded about how to do this and how to get out this rat race I was currently in. There wasn't really another option for me. I went ham, I asked these guys every question I possibly could, and I just didn't quit. Long story short, the relaunch of my store made over 300K in revenue, and I'm like, damn, this is dope, I gotta do it again. So I started more stores, and I'm running them in Google Ads instead of Facebook, doing everything I can, learning as much as I can, and making a lot of money. And I remember it like this was the point where I was working at the gym. I'd actually went from PT to selling memberships and also doing dropshipping. And I was like, okay, dropshipping is doing well, and I eventually quit and went full-time into dropshipping. So after some time, I was doing dropshipping for some time, making some great money, and I decided to post my first ever YouTube video. It was literally just a 5-second video of me doing 4K days. And then I remember this point vividly. I'm in Tenerife and I just posted a few videos by now, and this one guy was like, Jake, do a 0 to 1K challenge. And I was like, I can do way better than that. So I decided to document a store from scratch from 0 to 100K. And then I go and do this in under 80 days. Now this is where everything in my life starts changing, because now I'm making some great money on ecom, and I'm able to go and just rinse and repeat these stores with practically 0 effort. Once you have the formula, you just rinse and repeat this. I then went a little crazy and I bought this Ford Mustang GT. I had it for 2 months total, then I got rid of it. I guess it was like, okay, let me go from a 1.2 litre Corsa to a 5 litre V8. Let me go and have some fun. Then it almost became like a chore having this car. Now this leads me to directly where I am today. I'm in my 20s, I've just launched a new ecom brand with my business partner Elias. And the goal is to keep building and growing these brands, almost creating like a moat in these ecom niches where we're kind of untouchable. And I'm super excited about the future. Like I said, I'm making this video for new people on this channel because my plan, to be honest, is to kind of explode this. There's too many fakers pretending they've actually ran stores on YouTube, and I want to change that. So I hope you stick around because I'm going to do some incredible things on this channel. And I almost want it to be like a source of light, a source of inspiration for anybody that think they just can't do it, because I certainly felt that way. I think honestly, by putting this kind of content out there on the internet, I can get through to some people that have this strong urge to be wealthy, but they just don't know how to do it. And if I can get through to at least a few people and that can change their life, and they end up going to make something amazing, and that would just be totally worth it for me. Now, I don't want this to seem like I'm bragging or anything. I'm just here chilling with you guys, being very mellow. I'm just telling you exactly what it is. Now, if you want to see how I blew up one of my stores in a step-by-step formula in under 7 days, then you need to go and watch this video here where I show you the exact step-by-step method on how to do this fast.